Hello, everybody. This is Sophia Mona Lisa from the Golden Ray Center and the Roseville Mystery School. And I'm super, super excited about today's ceremony. Today, April 23rd, is the actual gate activation that's happening here at the throat chakra. And I know that I said at the end of the last ceremony that we would be bringing in the goddess Eris. You can see that goddess Eris is not on the screen, and rather we have Ma Durga here. That's a whole story I'm going to tell you about. And this ceremony, which you're invited to do personally at home, is about activating the 8th strand of DNA. So this Venus temple, where that activation will be done for you, is here at the Rennes-le-Château landscape Venus temple. You're going to see a picture in a little bit how the reason this Venus temple is called a landscape Venus temple is because in the actual landscape, there are 5 points in the land in terms of mountains and cathedrals that, and I think that the cathedrals were built later on these specific sacred sites that literally make a 5-pointed pentagram, which is the most ancient symbol of the sacred feminine, with exactly, it's been measured 72 degrees between each point of the pentagram. And this Magdalene Tower here, which is near the Magdalene Church in Rennes-le-Château, is on one of the points of the pentagram. And of course, this is where Maureen and I went in 2019 for our Magdalene journey, which is going to become very significant again in our discussion today. But the Venus Temple guardians for this landscape Venus temple are Les Royautés de la Rose, the Rose Royalty. So I'm going to start telling you about why Ma Durga is coming in today to speak to us. So this is Nancy Safford. Nancy Safford is in the same priestess lineage as myself and Maureen. And she took a lot of people to the Cathar region in France to do these Magdalene tours. This is a book that she wrote about her experiences there. I highly, highly recommend it. I've read it several times already, each time I get something new. So after the last ceremony in March, and I mean like right after, because, you know, I always say the next ceremony is going to be at such and such temple. And so we were talking about this landscape Venus temple at Rennes-le-Château. Maureen can attest to this because I started texting her. Nancy, who passed away less than a year after our trip to Rennes-le-Château in 2019, came through to me. And I was actually in the shower, and there was like this urgency, like she had this urgent message. So silly me, I'm thinking, oh, she wants to speak at the Rennes-le-Château Venus temple. So I told Maureen about it. I contacted Carol. I'm like, what do you think about, you know, Nancy coming in? Are you willing to channel her? And Carol got a very clear message. Nope, I'm not supposed to channel her. You're supposed to channel her. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be put on the spot. So as I sat with the fact that very clearly Nancy had a message for me, one night I got the very clear message from her that she wanted us to invite Durga into this ceremony to speak to us. Now, there was a reason that she wanted us to invite Durga into this ceremony, because at the time that she was contacting me, At the time that we had the last Venus temple ceremony, we were in the midst of the spring Navaratri. And I had already started talking about the Ascension Support Group and using this book, Waking the Tiger, that the goddess Epona had guided me to. Now, what you need to know, and of course, the discussion about Navaratri is like beyond the scope of this ceremony, but I'll give you some tidbits. Navaratri is a Sanskrit word that means 9 nights. And during these 9 nights that happen in the spring and in the fall, these are the 9 nights of worshiping the goddess Durga. And this was happening at the time that we did our last Venus temple ceremony. It was happening at the time that I was guided to this book and talking about using this book in our Ascension support group. And it was happening at the time that Nancy was trying to get this urgent message to me about inviting Ma Durga in. Well, you can see from this image and from the first image that I had on the screen that Durga rides on the back of a tiger. And this book, Waking the Tiger, has this image of the tiger. And so it was a synchronicity that is just even beyond my mind that I didn't even put together. Obviously, I knew that the spring Navaratri was going to happen very soon. I wasn't dialed into the exact dates because I was focused on the Venus temple ceremony. But Nancy, bless her little heart, I'm sorry. Who guided Maureen and I to this temple, made sure that I got the message for Carol to invite Ma Durga in. And so you have to understand who Ma Durga is. And I'm not an expert on the Hindu goddesses. I have some experience with them, but I'll try to translate as best as I can from my understanding. And very likely when she comes in, she will add more information or correct any misinformation that's been passed down. Ma Durga is what I call the great mother that all things are birthed from in that cosmic void. And so if you think about the yin yang symbol, the yin swirl is Durga, also known as Shakti. And the yin swirl, sorry, my head is like boom. The yin swirl, the black swirl, Shakti, that's Durga, sacred feminine, that which I call Sophia consciousness. The yang swirl, the white swirl, that's Shiva, sacred masculine, that which I call Christ consciousness. So in this Hindu tradition, and there's various sects, there's the Sanskrit word Maha, which means great. So there's Mahashiva, Mahashakti, and then there's Shiva, Lord Shiva, the consort of Parvati. Okay, Parvati, and Lord Shiva, whom are the guardians at the Hawaiian Venus temple, they're not the Maha versions, right? Parvati is what we would call like an avatar, a descent of Durga. Now, during the 9 nights of Navaratri, when we're celebrating Durga, the first 3 nights are devoted to Mahakali, who is an aspect of Durga, the fierce aspect of Durga. Then the next 3 nights are devoted to Mahalakshmi. Lakshmi is a daughter of Shiva and Durga. And the last 3 nights are devoted to the goddess Saraswati, also a daughter of Shiva and Durga. And we've talked at one time about the Christ Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And we talked about that in terms of the Hindu tradition being Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So we know that Durga is the consort of Mahashiva. Kali is a consort of Shiva. Lakshmi is a consort of Vishnu, and Saraswati is a consort of Brahma. So again, bringing in the holy trinities of the sacred masculine, what we call Christ, and the sacred feminine, what we call Sophia. So I hope that that explanation helps you to crystallize in your minds how significant it is that Ma Durga will be speaking to us today. Now, here's the landscape Venus temple. These are the points. This is the point where Rennes-le-Château is, the Magdalene tour. Everything begins at this Venus temple, and everything ties back to this Venus temple. And I'm going to do my best to try to explain how, in my mind, I saw all of these connections line up. So this Venus temple is even more significant than even I realized as this work has been unfolding since 2019. And it goes back to the resurrection ceremony that we had in October when we brought that first strand, the 3rd strand of DNA online. That was happening in the Inanna underworld. The resurrection point was at 29 degrees of Libra, the mastery point of Libra. And I gave a little discussion. I'm going to try to just hit the high points here. In that video, I invite you to go back and watch that discussion again, because it's very, very relevant. That this Capricorn goddess Inanna underworld journey, where we were having that resurrection ceremony, tied back to the Gemini goddess Inanna underworld, where at that resurrection point, Yeshua gave me this template to replace the myth of Inanna in terms of working with the Venus synodic cycle. And of course, here we are today, April 23rd, at the throat chakra, where we're activating the 8th strand of DNA, where we have access to the Holy Spirit aspect of Christ. And the spiritual gift here is Satya consciousness, Satya being a Sanskrit word for truth, and Satya consciousness is love in speech. So this piece came up in the preceding Venus synodic cycle at the Gemini goddess Inanna underworld. So this current Inanna world tying back to that Inanna underworld, and how that tied back to the previous Inanna underworld in Libra, when Maureen here and myself with these other luminaries made this Magdalene journey, where we sat at this seat of Isis, where I received that multi-dimensional attunement, where I received the Aquarian archetype of divine creation. And at the resurrection ceremony that we had in October, that resurrection point again was at 29 degrees of Libra. And I talk about how, because that resurrection point is the apex of a yod, how all of you we're also in that resurrection ceremony becoming embodiments of the resurrected Christ and the resurrected Sophia, just as Maureen and I had become back at that seat of Isis, multidimensional attunement, where we received the Aquarian archetype of divine creation. So now bringing it to a full circle, here we are today, April 23rd, at this Venus gate activation. And 3 days before today's Venus gate activation, we had a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. The first eclipse on this Aries Libra axis, which is the path of conscious equal partnership. And it was at 29 degrees of Aries, standing right across the sky from that 29 degrees of Libra. And so here we have, again, the archetype of divine creation manifesting as this path of conscious equal partnership at these mastery points. The solar eclipse that happened at 29 degrees of Aries, which remember was squaring the Pluto and Aquarius point, standing right across the sky from this 29 degrees Libra, which was the resurrection point in October. I mean, this is freaking huge. And before I get into that next slide, I just want to pause to share a moment, because I would like to hear. Okay, hold on a second. Just a second here. I did something wrong. Okay, there we go. I'd like to hear, and especially for Maureen, how is your mind grasping this like full circle moment that's happening with this Venus temple in France? So Maureen, if you can unmute yourself, I'd love to hear what's coming through to you.
It's hard to wrap my mind around it, to tell you the truth. This whole period in my life has been quantum. You know, it's just hard for this Capricorn person to you know, jump into a quantum reality where all times are happening together. But that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm remembering that my mind was so full of Mary Magdalene and the possibilities of aligning with her. I clearly remember the vows I spoke outside the point that we stood at, the wall that you showed in the tower, just right beside the tower. We all stood there and spoke directly into the temple. And my vows were to use my ears to hear her truth, my eyes to see her truth, and my voice to speak her truth. And I've been doing that. Now, I'm not familiar with Durga. I'm mostly familiar with the goddesses in the West civilization, Mary Magdalene, of course, but my feeling was that sitting in the seat of Isis, I saw very clearly my connection and my alignment to not only Mary Magdalene, but to the statue that was sitting in the entrance, holding the goddesses, the three goddesses, and that aligned perfectly with the stained glass image of Mary Magdalene And when the sun got just to the right place from her third eye to his third eye, what do we call him?
Asmodeus.
Sophia and Mona Lisa?
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, the bringer of light, the shower of the way. He looks just like the devil, but he's the bringer of light, and they connected. And I saw that, and I felt that, and I fell in love with him as a guide. And that's kind of where I am with this whole full circle. I'm remembering all of that and how I aligned with that. And I'm appreciating the guides that showed us how all of the things within the church aligned with each other in particular ways. And it's a formula. It's a magic formula that shows us how these things are connected. And so that's what I'm feeling right now. Very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. And so, I open it up to you other ladies. I mean, you're observing all of this unfolding. And I don't want to say like you've got your nose pressed up against the window, but maybe a sense of that because you weren't with Maureen and I in France. But, is anybody else having any kind of ahas about this full circle moment that I discovered this week, which is why I've been on pins and needles waiting for today's ceremony. So please just unmute yourself and speak up.
The whole story's given me the chills. That's all I can, that's what I got to share. Just chills all over.
Yeah. Thank you, Helen. Carolina Grace, you are an integral part of this full circle with your conversation at the resurrection, your heart-led conversation at that resurrection ceremony. What's coming up for you around all of this?
There are so many current synchronicities arising that come in from so many different points, from my connection with the Hindu goddesses. I'm living next to an area with the highest Asian population in the UK. And so I've become much more exposed to that. Recently, I've been doing a lot of work with Kuan Yin and all the different goddesses she embodies, the different colors, and looking at the numerology of the 29th, which adds up to 11, a master number, even talking about the partnership, 1-1. It's just, there are so many different things that are coming. I mean, my own sacred connection to France in this particular location, because I have many lifetime connection and I've lived there. So it's just like it's a mass of all these different points coming together, like in the golden ratio, everything is just coming together in perfect alignment.
Right.
So it's allowing it to come in and settle, really.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I love that you speak to the numerology, because I know, Karen, wow, you've got this great expertise with numerology. Anything coming up within you that you'd like to speak to around all of this?
I just wanted to share that your excitement about that connection with Durga sitting on the tiger and then us starting the waking the tiger, that really hit me. I mean, I could really feel all that synchronistic vibration and how thrilled you were when you realized that. It's like, oh my gosh, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it really was wonderful. And for me, I see patterns. And so I'm never sure if other people will be able to perceive what I perceive when I try to put the pattern out there for everybody to see how it's all lining up. Susan, what's coming up for you around all of this?
Right now, I'm just dazed and overloaded at the moment. I was surprised because I was said before we started, I did some paperwork for sovereignty, and what's happened to me here since I sent it off to be done is rather startling. I mean, nothing is, so I'm kind of speechless right now. I feel like Maureen said about it's just there's so much going on, and as a fellow Capricorn, I'm just kind of, I'm getting what I asked for, so I got to be careful and back off what I'm asking for right now. So as this is integrating, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I'm grateful, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And Carol, I know you're driving, so I don't know if you feel comfortable unmuting yourself, if you have anything you'd like to say to this.
She looks like she's sitting in the shade.
Oh, is she? I don't see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Carol. Can you unmute yourself, sweetheart?
I'm trying to maintain contact, so I don't really want to break that contact to come here.
Okay, great, great. All right, well, let me go back.
Sophia, can I just quickly add, it's just struck me how many wise women are present as part of the work that you're doing. And isn't it interesting that your work has attracted this group of women who have had so much experience and opportunity to bring all of who they are to this work at this moment of time.
You're
Amen.
absolutely right, Carolina Grace. Thank you for acknowledging these phenomenal women, you know, as way showers, as wisdom keepers, as the elders for those that are coming up behind us. I'm in constant awe of the gifts that everyone here has to share, the wisdom that is spoken. I'm so sorry.
Oh. And I think we're in awe of you as our sacred leader, inspiring us and gathering us forward. And at least I speak directly from my heart in acknowledgement of you, because I think I'm totally in awe of your incredible gifts that you're bringing to us.
Thank you. I received that deeply into my heart, and I appreciate the acknowledgement. So I'm going to pull myself together here, go back to the screens. Okay, so I do want to take a quick moment to talk about this Aries Libra eclipse season that has just been initiated. I did a video about this. If you haven't seen the video, I'll put a link into the description box. This is the eclipse that just happened 3 days before this activation. Now, eclipse seasons generally run 2 to 2.5 years. This is a 2-year season, and they generally have 6 to 7 eclipses in their season. This season has 6 eclipses. So, you know, you might want to print this slide off, because I always post a link to the slides and post it somewhere so that you can engage with this path of conscious equal partnership through these eclipses. One thing that I would like to point out is, parenthetically, you're going to see SE and LE. SE means solar eclipse. LE means lunar eclipse. And in the video that I did, which I'm going to repeat this little piece here, I talk about this, that a solar eclipse always happens at a new moon. A lunar eclipse always happens at a full moon. So what this means is, at each of these solar eclipses, and I don't know the stats on this, but this is jumping out at me as significant. 5 of these 6 eclipses are solar eclipses, are happening at the new moon. And I talk about how this new moon energy is about planting seeds of consciousness, and how the eclipses are evolving humanity forward. This season is fundamental to us being able to step into this global community where we are consciously and equally engaged with each other, so that we can then step into the galactic community. And so, you know, as I always say, conscious engagement is the key. So keep all of this in mind. This mastery point, we are going to be mastering the ability to have this conscious equal partnership between our inner masculine and our inner feminine. You ladies, just as Carolina Grace so eloquently spoke to, are the way showers, because at that resurrection point in October, with the resurrection point being at the yod at 29 degrees Libra, on the other side of this axis, you received that archetype of divine creation where you became the embodiments of the resurrected Christ, the resurrected Sophia. So you've got that balanced equal partnership within your inner sacred feminine and your inner sacred masculine already established. This is another reason why each of you are so significant as way showers for the rest of humanity that are going to be evolved into this same place, that you are already carrying that field within you, and will be, you know, not only modeling that to those around you, supporting that for those around you, but are transmitting that into the collective consciousness for humanity. So this is significant because it is directly linked within 3 days of this Venus temple activation. And let me just remind you why. The eclipse, new moon eclipse, the moon is involved. This gate activation, the moon is involved. This is a very deep, intimate connection between the frequencies of this eclipse season being initiated and this 8th strand of DNA that's coming online, this gate activation that's activating the throat chakra. Okay, so I will also include in the description box below the link to the ceremony that we did in France last year when we were installing the rose gold Christos Sophia light codes. It's going to give you more information about this landscape Venus temple at Rennes-le-Château, which I don't want to have to repeat here. But more than that, it's going to give you the ceremony that you can use as a script for navigating yourself to this Venus temple. You know, you get to the Venus temple, you have to know how to access the Venus temple, and that's all in the script. That's why that piece is significant. Again, I will have this link to the October resurrection ceremony. I've added these time places here, which I always intended to do and just never got around to do it. It talks about using the quantum crystal technology and how to utilize it. That starts at 8 minutes and 8 seconds. The script that you can use as a template for activating your 8th strand of DNA starts at 53 minutes and 11 seconds. And then this, you know, I didn't really get the full empowerment and significance of the song that Maria sang, which talks about the cosmic diamond. That starts at 56 minutes and 21 seconds for helping to integrate, you know, the spiritual gifts of that reconnection and repairing of the strand of DNA in your sacred vessel, your physical body, with the strand of DNA in your divine template. So I will have that link in the I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time finding my words, so just bear with me, in the description box below. And I encourage you, when you're doing your personal DNA activation ceremonies, that whenever you're complete with your ceremony, to go back and listen to this song, because we talked about it in terms of also helping our crystalline light body be fully activated and coming online. But it's a big piece of the integration of that strand of DNA and its spiritual gifts. So I do want to talk about that again. And I know I probably might sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but I don't intend to sound like that. But it became very even more clear to me at this solar eclipse that was square the Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And I've talked about these squares, these 90-degree angles, as being opportunities for breakthroughs in consciousness. You have to step across the threshold. You have to consciously engage and grab that opportunity, because if you don't, you're closing the door on the opportunity and you're missing it. And it's like sand going through your fingers. And I'm always talking about conscious engagement. And what it brought home to me is even further, which I already knew, but trying to find new words to speak to this, the significance of doing the personal ceremonies. When you do the personal ceremony and you're standing in the temple, you're claiming this, that reconnection, that repairing of the DNA strands. You're claiming the spiritual gifts that are being reawakened within you that are completely unique. Whatever, you know, my spiritual gifts in the 8th strand of DNA are going to be completely unique to your spiritual gifts in the 8th strand of DNA. And I was doing a DNA reading for a couple people this past week, and what I received about these spiritual gifts that are so unique from strand to strand and from person to person. And I'm not a Trekkie. I got the vision of Spock doing the mind meld. And it was an analogy for how our 12 strands of DNA is really a mind meld from source, God, Goddess, that when our soul was created, that our DNA as the mind meld from source holds all of the unique attributes of what source, the divine, was desiring to create in our unique flame. And so again, this idea of claiming it so that you can embody it, and, you know, doing the personal ceremonies, getting the DNA activation readings, listening to Maria's heart song. These are things that you can do in this density to help you claim it, integrate it, and embody it. And that square at the solar eclipse that happened 3 days ago really kind of even drove the critical importance of us and our sacred vessels, our human bodies, of doing that work for ourselves. The other piece that is significant, and this goes back to the discussion, the heart-led discussion that Carolina Grace was inspired to initiate at that resurrection ceremony in October, the use of the quantum crystal quartz technology. I talk about in that video how the structure of crystal quartz, clear crystal quartz, whether you're using a Vogel cut crystal or just any clear quartz crystal that you happen to have, the structure is exactly the same structure as the structure of the quantum field. It's exactly the same structure of the DNA strands. And as we're adding, bringing more and more strands of DNA online, there's strands of DNA that are at higher frequency. That this 8th strand of DNA is at a higher frequency than the 3rd strand of DNA that we brought online at that resurrection temple. And so using this quantum quartz crystal technology is not only impacting our crystalline structure, which has the same structure as the quantum field, but it's also enabling us to further integrate that DNA in terms of the reconnection, the repairing, the regeneration of that DNA within these physical bodies. So it's a crucial part of the personal DNA activation ceremony. And I really hope that that piece isn't being left behind. Okay, so here's the part where we get to talk about our personal ceremonies. And these are all of the Venus temples where the different strands of DNA activation have been done. And I'm going to pause the share screen so that those of you that have been doing your personal DNA activation ceremonies can speak to some of the experiences that you're having. And of course, that speaking to it, giving it a voice so that it can be witnessed, is another part of the integration and embodiment process. So here we go.
I want to share something, Sophia.
Hold on a second. Yes, go ahead.
Earlier today, I was looking at your website and I found the DNA section, and you did an interview with somebody that explained all of that. And since I'm so new to participating with this stuff, I have to say, I want to validate what you just said about doing our own personal stuff. I didn't really understand to begin with, what the hell am I doing here? It's like I've got my DNA and then, how is this working? Because I have a hard time grasping concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to that interview, it just started to click. And so as I, was trying to do some of the stuff, I felt, so I'm hooking up to my divine, to the rest of me that's been missing. And that was a great aha for me. So I feel confident that I can feel more successful about doing these activations for myself as I move forward.
I'm really happy to hear that. And yes, I'll just kind of talk over that piece again, very briefly. So we've got the DNA in our physical body, but our physical bodies have a divine template.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dark forces disconnected strands 3 through 12 to keep us disempowered, they were not able to disconnect the strands of DNA and our divine template. They can't mess with that stuff.
Because our DNA can't be tampered with.
That's right. So what we're doing, and I think the analogy that I've used before, and I don't know if I used it in that video, it's like you've got a car, right? The sacred vessel is like a car that your soul is using to navigate this density. And the battery's dead. So call AAA, they send somebody out, they hook up the cables from the battery of their truck to the battery of your car. So that's the repairing and the reconnecting, those jumper cables where the strand of DNA and the divine template is hooking up to the strand of DNA in our physical body. And it's giving it a jump. It's reactivating it. It's regenerating it. It's bringing all of those spiritual gifts back online within our physical body. And so by going through the ceremony, by using the quantum crystal to code it, to embed that in the quantum field, what I've personally discovered from my experiences of doing the DNA ceremonies is that, let's say you do the DNA ceremony for the 4 strand of DNA that was brought online back in December. And here we are now in April. Because it's all happening in the eternal now, if you were to go back now and do that DNA activation of the 4th strand, then, and because we're working with the quantum field, then what happens is, whether you can perceive it or not, that everything that's happened since December to now that you consider your past experience is completely rewritten in the linear timeline, because you went into the eternal. It's almost like time travel, because you're going into the eternal now and you're surgically embedding through the love frequency that's at the eye of that crystal, this creation into the quantum. Okay. Anybody else that's been doing DNA activation ceremonies on their own that would like to speak to what they've been experiencing?
Hi.
Hey.
I haven't been doing the activations with this, but I've been doing something else. And it's just as in depth, or as Caroline said, like it's overwhelming. It's a lot. It's been life altering. The whole Christ and the Capricorn and the coming together, I haven't been able to stop crying. My tears are of, I've never experienced joy in my life like I have over the past few months. And this connection that I'm having personally too is coming up. And it's going along with everything that we're doing, the Christ consciousness and the Sophia and the mothers and the daughters and the entities that are around me and the support and it's a lot. Coming from whatever my past is or whatever, and to actually be feeling what I've been feeling. The only thing I can describe it, I'm trying to get a word, is just divine love. The purity of it is just, I don't know. I can't say I've ever experienced anything like this in my entire life. And it's beautiful in its sense. And dittos again to what Carolyn said about sitting here with you women, and the energy that is emanating that I feel it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I just want to scream to the world. You know what I mean? It's just like, my heart is just bursting. I actually said, I feel like several times I was having a heart attack. Like I can actually feel my chest opening up. And I've never experienced that before, ever. And it's a good lot. Yeah. If that makes sense. It's good.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a real lot. So yeah, thanks everybody. You know,
I really appreciate you sharing that, Rebecca.
It's a lot.
Let me try to explain something. I got my sun in Capricorn. My Pluto is in Virgo. So Virgo is my soul tribe. So I'm all about, ceremony, sacred ceremony, right? So with my sun in Capricorn, on the shadow side, which is something that I still deal with, getting better at it. I feel this immense responsibility for the people that I share the wisdom that's coming through me with. And I've got my way of integrating and embodying, which is ruled by my Virgo, soul tribe, about the ceremony. Rebecca clearly said she's doing something different. And so I want to acknowledge and say, maybe you're not in the Virgo soul tribe. Maybe you don't have a sun in Capricorn. You're not like me. You're not physically doing it the way that I'm recommending. Doesn't mean that what I'm recommending is the only way. It's just the way I know because of my own personal makeup. But the piece that's significant is the claiming it and the embodying it. And so whatever it is that you, through your own unique guidance, are receiving, for you to be able to claim and embody, perfect. Because I don't want to sound like the teacher that's scolding, the person that's beating the dead horse. It's just my recommendation. And so I love that Rebecca spoke to, she's doing something different, and she's claiming and she's embodying and she's having the manifestations of how she's being guided to do that process, the claiming and embodiment process. Does that make sense, Rebecca? I can't hear you, sweetheart. You're muted.
Yes, and I didn't even look at it that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't look at it as that yours is right or wrong or mine. I just, being with you is just allowing it to happen without me having to do it is kind of what's happening. But you're the catalyst for me for it. The group is the catalyst, like, yeah, I don't have to own it or have it. It just is. And yeah, it's still a lot, Sophia.
I know.
But it is. And I do try to do the things, but it just doesn't happen that way. And so it's still happening, which is amazing. And it's how is it happening if I'm not, it's just present. So even in, I don't know what the word would be, even in, like when you vicariously live through other people. So am I vicariously drawing through without having to physically do your way? Is it still coming through because of the energy that evolves around it?
From my perspective, and there could be another perspective, from my perspective, the work that we do as we gather here is an awareness heightening. I always say the first big step forward is the awareness heightening.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an intention.
Mm-hmm.
We create through intention. And when we focus on something, it happens spontaneously. And so, like I said, I've got my way of doing it that I can offer, but you all may have your own way of doing it that you're inspired to do. And I want you to stay true to that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything about these activations and anything that you've experienced? Yes, Susan.
Well, when I was in Tucson a few weeks ago, I did the activation at the temple in New Orleans. And it was fascinating, and I went into it very quickly, and I got to see the circle, and the first thing in standing in that circle, I mean, it was just like white glowing beings that was there. And but the first thing I heard and I saw was the Native Americans and the drumming of the mother drum. So they were calling in that energy. And then it was, and again, the golden
Hind.
That golden hind that comes in and does these blessings And so you don't know where those horns are going. And it just came right up to me and placed them on my shoulder. So it was really quite something. So, and I'm surprised at what's coming up now, talking about it, because I've been talking about it with you before, and that wasn't really there. So it's taking it in even deeper to that. But I also realized, like I was saying earlier, I did something today in to own sovereignty, and I'm surprised at what's coming up from that. So I'm right there with Rebecca. I'm a bit of a mess right now, but it's a good mess.
It's beautiful, Susan. And so I'll remind all of you, Uranus is traveling through Taurus. Taurus is the sign of embodiment. Uranus is all about these liberating consciousness, liberating fields of consciousness, liberating frequencies that we're embodying. And so, again, it's the engagement, it's the conscious engagement. And so that cosmic dance of which Uranus making his journey through Taurus is a part of can start to work you. It's like the image I'm getting is like if you create pottery on that wheel, you got to work the clay before you throw it on the wheel to start. And that's what this is happening to us, so that we can embody these higher fields of consciousness, these liberating higher frequencies. Helen, oh, go ahead, Susan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, be careful what you ask for, because right now it's going okay, and then you can't back up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make sure you got your big girl panties on.
Yeah.
For sure. Sophia Mona Lisa, I just want to talk about one thing coming full circle
Okay.
again with the France trip and what started there. Well, you know, we were roommates. We didn't know each other at all, and yet we kind of grabbed onto each other as support. And I felt like we're talking about sovereignty here, which is a whole another mind-bending area for me. But we were challenged there. Our sovereignty was challenged. And how we both dealt with that was different, but we helped each other a lot. And we're doing that now with this group, and understanding that each of us are sovereign beings. And we had to move through anger to get here. I didn't even know what Sophia consciousness was until you started to bring it into our classes. I never heard that expression. Now Sophia Christ consciousness is just, I'm so familiar with it, and I'm learning to work with it. But we started there. This is full circle. We started there. You had anger, personally attacked your sovereignty. I had anger because of a past life. I was a Templar Knight, and I was so angry. I was mad and angry and protective and just fierce. And I couldn't seem to figure out where that came from. But anyway, we've come full circle with that now. And I think we've had to look at that shadow, as everybody I understand here has looked at their own shadow and integrated in. And it's an important part of our process. And I guess personally, I would just like to say it was I grabbed onto your shirt tails, girl, when we came home from France, and and it has really been a remarkable journey, and I thank you personally, and I appreciate our beautiful friendship, and I just wanted to say full circle how that feels today.
Thank you. Thank you. And, you know, Maureen and I are Scorpio goddesses. I happen to know that Karen's also a Scorpio goddess. And so delving into the underworld and dealing in the, you know, bringing light into the underworld, dealing with shadow is something that we do. We're shadow magnets. You know, I can't tell you how many experiences I've had of people projecting their shadow on me when I've said nothing but have just been present. And it's part of the work that we do as priestesses. And that Inanna underworld journey chewed us up, spit us out. I got a horrific case of pneumonia. Maureen fell down the stairs and cracked her skull. I mean, I fell into a dark portal at Caribou. I mean, so yeah,
Wow.
it's funny that these memories are coming up because we're engaging the frequencies of that Venus temple through this ceremony, but the intensity of it is so real. And, you know, trying to find words to the own intensity that each of you are experiencing as we're coming up on completing the Taurus Scorpio eclipse season, which is the path of intensity, right? 2 weeks, May 5th, we're having the sixth of the 7 eclipses on that Taurus Scorpio axis. The final one will be the second eclipse in October. So yes, that intensity, that Shakti, that Kundalini that brings all of that stuff up into the light is moving through all of us. And it is a challenge to let it have its way with you when you feel like you're having a near-death experience. Okay, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to share, I'm going to go back to the slides. Okay, great. Okay, so here we are at the portal of communication, the throat chakra activation. And these are all of the aspects that are in the sky today. And of course, you can see how intimately the divine feminine, the sacred feminine, and the various aspects of her are showing up. You know, we've got the goddess Epona, we've got Isis, the cosmic Sophia, we've got the Magdalene, the embodiment of Sophia, we've got Juno, the goddess of sacred partnership, we've got Maria Salome, the holy soul aspect of Sophia, we've got Sara, that genetic code that we have inherited, that Christed lineage that we have inherited from Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, that's in our own DNA. A lot's going on. And, you know, I did a DNA activation reading for someone recently, and this week, and what clearly came up is this, and it's significant because of this throat chakra activation, is that the voice of the divine feminine, the voice of the sacred feminine is being rebooted, but it's being rebooted in these higher frequencies. And I know there's been a lot of women that have been doing a lot of work on restoring the sacred feminine to earth. And I in no way intend to invalidate their work. But the challenge is, which was shown to me, that the voice of the feminine cannot be restored on earth because it's been tainted by the patriarchy's choices. And so it's like having a white shirt that you spill coffee or soda on. No matter how much you try to get that stain out, it's still tainted, and it's probably a shirt you'll wear around the house, but it's not a shirt that you're going to wear out to have dinner with somebody because of the stain that's on it. And so this is why the divine feminine's voice is being rebooted in these higher frequencies, right at the quantum level. And it's coming down and it's coming into our throat chakras. It's coming into our heart chakras so that we can embody it, this pure divine feminine voice to come in and speak through all of us here and for everyone on the planet that is ready to receive her pure voice. And so this is really a big deal. Look at all of the activations to this gate that's happening at 14 degrees of Gemini. Gemini ruled by Mercury, right? How you communicate with others. And notice here that there is a semi-sextile to Mercury and Uranus in Taurus. And look at this, Mercury at 15 degrees of Taurus, which is standing exactly across the sky from where that 6th of the 7 lunar eclipses on that Taurus Scorpio axis, that path of intensity, is happening on May 5th. Again, you know, trying to have a big enough vision that you don't get lost. You can see the forest, but you don't get lost because you're focused on the trees. And when we look at what's happening in the sky today, this is the tree. But how do we broaden our vision to see what are the other pieces of this forest, like the solar eclipse that happened 3 days ago, square Pluto, like this eclipse that's coming up on May 5th across the sky from where the gate is standing in semi-sextile to Mercury retrograde in Uranus. This is showing us that this rebooted divine feminine voice is being embodied through our throat chakra and is going to liberate the way that she can speak through us. I mean, this is super duper big. I just don't know. I don't know how else to say that. But in terms of like, you know, a theme for what this activation is all about, what was giving to me is that the gate activation is enabling each of us to discern and recognize our own thoughts and beliefs that are, you know, running around in that lower mind, you know, from the other voices in your head, so that we can break the spell casting. A lot of people say, oh, that's my mother's voice that I'm hearing in my head. Or maybe it's the voice of, you know, what the pastor in his fire and brimstone was, you know, showering down on you last Sunday, you know. So this ability to be able to discern and recognize our own thoughts and beliefs from the others is a part of this sovereignty journey that we're on. And it's significant because it's allowing, when we break the spell casting, it's allowing that pure voice of the divine feminine to speak through us, and we can hear and know her voice as she speaks through us. So I just want to stop the share here for a minute and ask you, is there anybody receiving anything around that piece of information in terms of what's happening at this gate activation at the throat chakra? Because I really am encouraging you to give a voice to it so that we can all bear witness to it.
Yes, Caroline. Yeah. I've had so many epiphanies recently in terms of who I am, or who I am becoming more of, and who I am now standing fully present with. And my voice, and I'm not one for social media, but I'm participating in a conscious marketing group at the moment. And all of a sudden, it's almost like I've stepped into a new awareness and role, and the voice that's coming through me, I'm suddenly finding myself sharing different perspectives, but I'm surprised at the gentleness and the love that's coming through in the way that I'm sharing it. Before, I'm much more masculine, right in there, you know, to the jugular. Now I'm much more soft and giving people permission to explore and whatever. And it is just so radically different. I am now feeling so distinctly different from the people that I'm participating with, and I can recognize the wisdom that I'm here to share that will benefit, but not from that space of ego, but from that space of experience and this is mine to do.
Right. That's beautiful.
And also from this point of handling the chaos, I've now come to that space of realizing that there is so much chaos and happening around me, but I am now blessing it as the opportunity of divine perfection expressing through me in the form of chaos, so that I can appreciate and allow it to unfold in its natural way versus trying to control it. Working with it and allowing it and blessing it. And so there are so many of these different things that are coming through that I can see, especially as a Gemini, as a communicator, of who I am being and becoming more of and expressing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really happy to hear that, Caroline and Grace, because this 8th strand of DNA is the spiritual gifts are being brought online by the 8th house ruler, Pluto. And Pluto's in Aquarius now. So being able to empower the way that we bring through and communicate these higher frequencies, one of which is this rebooted divine feminine voice, which is why the square to Pluto and Aquarius by this recent solar eclipse on the path of conscious equal partnership is so significant to this 8th strand of DNA that's coming on at this throat chakra. So I don't know if anybody else is experiencing a new way that their voice is being used to communicate these higher frequencies, whether from their own crystalline structure or just from what they're receiving from the higher frequencies.
I don't know if I can say that other than what for me is happening with my throat chakra. It is feeling freer after years of feeling constricted, of not of being told, oh, you don't know how to speak, you know, better to be seen and not heard, that type of thing, for a long time. And so, because there'd always be that emotional button that would get pushed in, and I just get quiet and go in myself. And something occurred last week, and I didn't get that emotional hit, and I just kind of stood right up and said my thing, not in a mean way, but I just said, basically, I said, if you would stop talking and let me finish instead of jumping to a conclusion of what you think I might have said. And then I said what I did. And when it was all over and I walked away, I went, oh, damn, you go, girl. Because I finally stood up for myself, but there wasn't an emotional attachment to it. I just spoke clearly and told somebody else, if you just be quiet and listen. And they did. And it was very, very freeing. So that's how I'm feeling at this point with all these. I feel like a bazillion activations that I've been doing in a matter of nanoseconds.
Right. And what you described there is a beautiful manifestation of those Pluto and Aquarian energies. Your ability to speak your truth in a way that wasn't emotionally hooked, but was clear and concise and empowered. Perfect Pluto and Aquarius manifestation.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because those Aquarian energies are liberating. And that's exactly how you said that you felt when you walked away from there. Whoosh. Good for you.
Instead of the boys are back in town, it's, ooh, the girls are back in town. All right.
Anybody else have anything that they'd like to speak to regarding what's happening with their voice in the throat chakra?
Sophia, I'm noticing, I don't seem to have problems when I'm speaking, doing my work with others. I allow spirit to come through when I speak. But for myself, I'm noticing that and again, this blending of the Christ consciousness and I'm finding that I'm speaking more feminine. Like, again, Carolyn, I'm sorry to keep poking at you, but with the getting rid of the masculine and speaking more of the feminine, and I am speaking more of my truth. And I've never, again, I keep saying never, and I shouldn't use that word a lot, but it's that feminine heart, or that feminine level of allowing myself, like whatever those opening up and allowing myself to be able to speak in that softer feminine way, and to allow myself to feel in that feminine way, and not having to control or to be in charge or whatever. And that part of for my own personal self, like Susan was saying, standing up, it's not so much standing up for myself as it is speaking my truth. And I'm finding that to be very empowering and enlightening, like to be able to not be fearful of what I'm saying, and being more conscious of how I'm saying it. Whereas in my masculine, I just say it and I'm just blunt, and I can be very callous, and I'm noticing that I don't have to think about how I'm saying it now. It is just more of a softer flow. So I don't know if that's what I'm seeing for me.
Well, and I love that, Rebecca and Susan and Caroline and Grace. I think that what the three of you are describing in your own unique experiences are the first manifestations of how this rebooted divine feminine voice is starting to show up through our sacred vessels, which, she uses as her instrument. So I love hearing that. And I'll just remind you that before we started the recording of the show, I was talking about my own experience in terms of the chanting and the singing that I'm doing in the paddocks and with the horses out at the ranch. And of course, that's something that I would not have done before. And what I noticed is if I allowed the chanting to come through, the horses responded to it. When I started to shift to sing some devotional songs that are in Sanskrit, which is a very holy language, they didn't respond. And I recognized that the reason that they didn't respond is because my lower mind was engaged when I was remembering the words of the devotional songs. But when I was chanting and just letting the chants move through me, my lower mind wasn't engaged. And so then they responded very well to that. So I love that we're seeing the early manifestations of that. And I'm really excited to see how that's going to evolve through us. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to this before I go back to the slides?
Sorry, Sophia. Just adding on that bit where you were very kindly supportive of me challenging this well-known spiritual entrepreneur who I'd paid an absolute fortune to help me, and to find that he had, let's say, borrowed my content and used it for his audience. And having challenged him, and I felt very comfortable with bringing it up, with not adding all the extras and the, well, maybe, and if possibly, very directly, but respectfully, but with the more feminine approach, and also watching how he wriggled in his constant responses, trying to excuse his behavior. And I was very much, again, to the point, I didn't need to say anything. And that was a completely different interaction. And that felt very empowering, speaking truth to power, but minimally, because I didn't need to say any more, but watching the impact on somebody who you caught out of alignment and seeing how they responded. So that was fascinating as well. And all credit to you for supporting me in doing that too. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having the courage to stand in your truth. I appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Back to the slides. So, is everybody ready for me to call in sacred space? Let me just get a thumbs up here for everybody ready to call in sacred. Whoops, sorry. My slides are getting ahead of me. Okay. All right. So if everybody will just take a deep inhale. Make sure your hands and your feet are comfortable. Another deep inhale. Into your solar plexus chakra. Breathing deep into your sacral chakra. Breathing deep into your root chakra. Breathing deep into your earth star chakra. And bringing your attention to your stellar gateway, which is up here above your soul star chakra. And consciously opening your stellar gateway so that you can connect with your divine eternal self. And inviting the Sophia Christ consciousness that you are as a divine eternal being to flow down through the stellar gateway into the soul star chakra, through the crown chakra, through the third eye chakra, into the throat chakra, allowing it to fill up the throat chakra, expand the throat chakra. Take a few deep breaths here to allow the expansion. And your Sophia Christ consciousness that you are comes into your heart chakra. Into your solar plexus chakra. Into your sacral chakra. Through the root chakra. Into that earth star chakra. And connecting you deep into the heart of Gaia, so that you are fully grounded and connected above and below. And with this, I claim this space for the Sophia Christ consciousness. I call in Sophia, divine wisdom, and Mary Magdalene, the embodiment of Sophia consciousness. I call in Christ, his divine will, and Yeshua, the embodiment of Christ consciousness. I call in the Arcturian and Pleiadian star beings who are supporting us and collaborating with us in this galactic New Earth project. And for everyone who is present here now, and for all of those who will be meeting us in this eternal now, in the linear future, I call in our mentorship councils, our galactic teams, our spirit allies. I call in the Venus temple guardians, Les Royautés de la Rose, the Rose Royalty. And I ask the goddess Diana to put on each and every one of us her full armor of spiritual protection and fortification. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so now it's time for Carol to bring in Ma Durga. Don't be surprised if the Bhakti tears start flowing as she shares her message with us. So Carol, whenever you are ready.
So as Grace Joshua begins with the breath, so as the consciousness of the divine feminine, we do the consciousness around what this is going to do. When I say thumb, consciousness on thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger. Do not need to move, put consciousness on. It's called a consciousness round. It is to engage, pull in the lower ego so that the divine feminine can rise forth. So please get comfortable. Remember, just allow your imagination to be aware of what I am saying. Feel it, be aware of it. This is using your divinity to bring forth what we are giving you for presentation. So we start. This will always be the fifth finger. Big toe would be first toe. Round of consciousness. Right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, down to the feet. Right big toe, second toe, third toe, fifth toe, sole, ankle, back of the calf, knee, thigh, hip, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, sole, ankle, calf, knee, thigh, hip, abdominal, stomach, chest, lungs, throat, chin. Focus on the lower lip, upper lip, right nostril, left nostril, right eye, left eye, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, third eye. Focus, breathe in. Top of head. Let your consciousness go down to the right ear, left ear. Breathe in, being aware of whole body. Whole body, whole body. Now we want to put your consciousness, your awareness that you are very heavy. You are sinking into your seat. Your feet are sinking into the floor. Feel, remember the sensation of heaviness, allowing your body to sink into the earth, into the ground, into the chair. Letting your breath slow, letting your body become heavy. heavier and heavier. Breath slower and slower. Release this. Allow your body to feel light. Feel the light of the breeze, the light of the feather, a leaf falling down, a butterfly resting. Allow your body to remember, to imagine, feeling of lightness. Allow your body, your feet to gently, lightly rest. Feeling yourself lift up, feeling the light, the lightness fill your body. Remember this feeling of lightness. Let it go. One last time, allow your body to sink into the chair, your feet to sink into the floor. Allow your body to become heavy. Allow your breath to slow. Feel like a log laying on a quiet, dark forest floor. So relaxed, so happy, so comfortable. Feel and remember the sensation of quiet heaviness. Allow this to disappear. One last time, allow your body to rise up in imagination. Feel that you are just a little feather on a leaf. You are a breeze. You are nothing but lightness. Feeling your body rest gently on the seat. Feeling your feet rest lightly, gently on the floor. Allow your body to remember, to imagine the feeling of lightness, of barely being there. Allow this image to disappear. Be aware of the warmth of the light, feeling what it's like to walk on the beach, the sun warming your head, your arms and legs becoming warm, your feet hot against the sand. Allow your body to remember, to imagine heat, feeling the back of your neck heat up. Your body is hot, the feet are hot. Remember what it feels like to be very hot. Heat surrounding you. Fire gently coming from your skin. You are so hot that fire naturally comes from you. You are on the sand. The sand is on fire. You are in your natural element of fire and heat. Allow this to disappear. Remember the feeling of a cold morning, the mist, the fog, your head open and cold, your arms shivering against the coldness that rubs against the skin. Feel and imagine goosebumps on your skin. So cold. Your feet are on the cold ground. Feel and remember coldness. Allow your body to remember the feeling of cold. Mist surrounding you. Nothing but cold, damp mist. Allow your body to remember the sensation of being deeply cold. Allow this to disappear. One last time, you walk on the beach. Allow your body to warm up, the sun to warm your head, the sun to warm your arms. Your legs are warming, your feet is warming under the sand. You begin to feel your feet get hot. The sun is beating on your head. The sun in the back of the neck becoming so hot. Remember, imagine how hot your body can feel. The sun, the heat, the light. You are so hot that you naturally give forth flames, naturally give forth light. You are light, you are flames. Imagine, feel the heat coming from you. Last time, let that go. See yourself in the fog, so dense, so thick. Your feet are cold from the cold ground. Your top of your head is so cold from the breezing. No head, no nothing to cover you. Your neck is open and cold. Your arms are shivering from the cold breeze. You remember and feel the cold covering you, misting you. Nothing but coldness, dampness. You are only cold. Allow this to disappear. See yourself on the top of a green hill. The grass is pleasant. It is soft. And as you begin to walk down the hill, there are birds. There is a stream going by. Allow yourself to walk down the hill, being aware of the natural sound of the water, the natural sound of the birds in nature. Then as you walk down the hill, your breath relaxes, your body relaxes. You feel the breeze, the soft grass, the smell of the flowers, the feel of the warm, gentle breeze, the water running down alongside you as you go down. Each step relaxing you more. Each step connecting more to the earth, being aware of the water, being aware of the light in your head, going more slowly down, feeling the top of your head open up to the light coming in. It is natural to be aware of the light, to open up to the divine light that is there in this time, in this place. Your hands open up, feeling the breeze, the tingling, the movement. Your hands are aware that they are opening, activating. Your feet feels the earth, soft, gentle, supporting. Allow your feet to open up and feel the earth, the support, the connection, the female energy that is always there, balancing, giving back, giving to you, allowing your body to walk so comfortably down the water, so comfortably on the grass, feeling your head tingling with the warmth of the sun, your hands tingling with the openness of the breeze, your feet tingling with the communication of Mother Gaia. And as you walk to the bottom of the river, it opens out into a gentle glade of water, shining, shivering. You can see the water dance, the sun covering it all in diamonds. A grove of trees, rich, lush, comfortable. You can see gentle forest animals moving, playing. You walk to the edge of the lake, allowing your body to sit down, getting more contact with the earth. In this time, in this place, you are becoming activated, connected to the earth, connected to the water, connected to the air. You are part of this creation. You are a spark of this creation. And as you sit in this safe, gentle place, you see the sun, subtle, putting golden, red, pink, orange lights across the water, seeing swans and birds gently gliding across the water. You feel safe. You are home. You surrounded by caring, nurturing. You feel the earth let you know it is time to replenish. It is time to renew. In this time, in this place, as the sun sets and the stars come out and the moon shines completely, fully on the lake, lighting up the landscape as if it was fully lit by the moon's light. And you can see all the creatures relaxed, comfortable, and in the space of darkness, and is a space of replenishment, renewal. Open your senses, your perception, your aura to the magic that is around you. The light, the giving from the stars, the support, the earth saying, relax, release, you are safe. The animals around you, feeling their safeness, seeing them relax, some lay down by you. This is a time, this is a place to accept both your activation and your ability to renew, to relax, to connect when it is comfortable for you, to open up your hands, to open up your feet, to open up the top of your head, to allow divine wisdom in. In this time, in this place, we are confirming to you that you are divine, that you are cared for. You are a creature of creation. You are creation itself. As you are in this place of safety, allowing yourself to be open to the head, the hands, and the feet. Imagine. Allow your thought to open up to the stars, gently sending filtered light, twinkly light. Light all around you, a shower of starlight. And as you sit in this shower of starlight, you pull in the starlight as much or as little as you want, as the gems of light and the gems of diamond and the gems of starlight. And the origins of the starlight that speak to you at this time, in this place. Allow your body to assimilate, to incorporate this beautiful shower of starlight that is covering you, that is raining upon you. It is a time to take what you choose, to walk the path that you choose, to open up as you choose, to speak in whatever frequency and whatever comfortability you choose. This time and this place is a safe place for you to choose. How do you want to grow? How would you like to expand? How would you like to pull in the light that is around you? And at all times, you are safe. You are protected. You are replenished by the earth. You are renewed by the light. I'm going to let you take 2 comfortable breaths. When you're ready, stand up from the pond. Begin walking back up the hill. And as you walk up the hill with the moon lighting brilliantly the water, the grass, with each step up, you become more refreshed, more renewed. As you reach higher, your light higher, your frequency is higher. And the gift that you are given is with each hour, each day, each week. You have the ability to grow, to expand more and more and more. Finding your way up to the top of the hill. closing the top of your head with purple light, closing your hands, sealing them with purple light, sealing and closing your feet off with purple light. At this time, in this place, you are divine creatures. You are loved. You are supported. Your choice, your walk, your frequency, your path is your choice. When you are ready, gently come back by wiggling your toes and fingers.
As you're coming back to your space, I would like for you to be aware of the divine light that is surrounding Carol. Carol, if you could just say something so that you can come back on the screen so that everybody can see that gorgeous light.
I think we lost her.
Wow. You're right, Karen. Did anybody besides me see that incredible light around her? Well, let's allow a moment to see if she's able to reconnect.
Sophia, I had my eyes closed the whole time, and all I saw was bright towards, I was in and out. I don't remember half of what she said, but I saw in my mind's eye super bright. So that makes sense that you said that, because I didn't have my eyes open.
Thank you for sharing that.
I love the chorus of the birds at the end. Perfect conclusion.
I was very aware of the bird song too. It really was present in my space, that bird song. I've texted her to see if she can come back. Just give her a few more minutes. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share while we're waiting?
About birds. Lately, there's like a convention going on outside my bedroom of birds. And it occurred to me the other day that there's some sort of protection. It feels that way, but I've never noticed it at night. I mean, they're just on duty. And the morning, it was like 24/7. And I love birds.
Yeah. I do too. I'm not hearing back from her. You
Here she
remember?
comes. She's
Okay, good.
coming.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, guys. I don't know when my phone died.
Oh, there's a lot of power moving through it. That's why.
It just completely blanked out, but I don't know how much did you get?
We got it all.
Yeah, we got it all.
Really? And then it just stopped.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Carol, the light, the divine light that was surrounding you, I mean, it was just light. Like I couldn't even see you through the light. It was just all light.
Me neither. Yeah, you just disappeared.
I guess so. Oh, that was different. And all of a sudden I looked up and the phone was gone. I'm like, oh no. So what part was it last? Did it get to the top of the hill?
We got to
Oh,
the part where
wow.
she had us come back, she to the very end.
Cool. Oh, that's Grace.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yes, that's right. Sealing the chakras with the purple light. That's right. Thank you for reminding me, Susan.
And Carol, you had this most amazing Indian accent to start with.
She came through quite strongly when she was doing the whatever it was she was doing. She came through she like that was her thing. Like she said, I really felt her like Jesus was very strong in the breath, and it was very important for her to do the consciousness round. That was very important for her.
But it was definitely done with the oversoul. I mean, that was just amazing. Yes.
Yeah, she was here.
Yeah.
She was there. It was funny because at some points I wasn't even there, and then I would come back. I would come in and out, so I wasn't there all the time. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Well, how does everybody feel anyway after that?
I don't know about anybody else. My crown chakra is just buzzing like crazy and very open. But it has been this whole time. But I feel more grounded than when I first came in.
I feel very expansive. Very expansive.
Before you came back on, Carol, we were talking about the bird song that was present with you. And for me in particular, how it became a part of my space.
There was a bird.
Yes.
Loud.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. And it's gone now. Crazy.
It's an amazing serenade.
I don't know about anybody else, but all the animals that I remember being around me in the last 30 some years were there. My cats, my dogs, horses. It was awesome.
She says, yes, that is a bridge world where you guys were.
Now you're talking about the bird song, correct?
Yes.
Did anybody hear sirens?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was a siren that went by.
Okay, I'm thinking, am I hearing the bird songs as sirens? Okay, okay,
Luckily, it didn't last long.
okay. Then I didn't hear the birds. I must have went back out again because I only heard the sirens, which is weird. Okay.
I didn't hear the sirens, I only heard the birds.
Carol? Carol, before you came back, I was commenting on how recently I've been hearing birds outside my bedroom window day and night, and I've never noticed them before. And they're now suddenly quiet. They've been chirping nonstop. And I wondered if there was if that was like a premonition of what was coming today with the activation that we're doing. Some message from the birds.
From what I'm picking up, your birds by your house are for you. The birds that were here for the ceremony are for everybody.
Mhm.
But your birds are literally interacting with you for a purpose, as opposed to being involved in a ceremony. Yours are communicating with you. Yours are different vibrational.
Okay. Yeah, they felt kind of, it's like there's some sort of protection. I don't know what that means, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah. So those birds are for you. by your house. And the birds in the ceremony were just part of the ceremony.
Okay.
But yeah, those they're saying that's your birds. Those are yours.
Lovebirds. Lovebirds. Hmm.
Love birds.
I just got that.
So did I.
There's significance to that because I'm really working on opening my heart more. And maybe they're there to help me in that process too. So lovebirds, how about that?
Well, they're saying there's more than that. They're okay, this is going to sound really kooky, but what do I say that doesn't sound kooky? So just like animals can come back, dogs and cats can come back, and horses come back to be in your life, birds also have the same ability to come back. And the birds that are back with you now have come back with you throughout lifetimes. And it's like sometimes when you move or when you change places, they can't always find you right away. But these birds are part of your animal group.
Okay.
So that, and then there I'm hearing it would be understandable if you would have a connection with them because they literally have gone with you through time. And then they're saying their favorite one is, for some reason you're in Germany and you're like at the edge of a woods, and that way they could like hang out with you easily. But their favorite lifetime was you within Germany. But yeah, they said they continue to flow with you through the lifetimes. Like dogs and cats and horses, they also have the ability to flow with you. So if you want to go out and, you know, just talk to them or just hang out or just look at them, there's a, there's like when you're close to something, there's a connection. It's almost like a silver spider web. And when it's animals, it's like silver spider webs look thin, but they can hold a lot. They can connect a lot. They're very sturdy. So your connection with the birds, they have like a spider web, thin, but very tough connection with you. But they're saying, please go out and just like engage with them.
Okay.
Yeah, but they've been with you before.
I do talk when they come up to the window. I do talk to them. Hello, how are you today? You look so pretty.
Yeah, they're part of, there are animals that go with you, and that's your animals. Let's see if I can go back, sit down with my phone shutting off. Yeah, so definitely, yeah, those are your birds.
Oh, thank you.
I can do this without my son shutting off. That was just so weird. You guys have no idea how weird that was.
Carol, can I ask a question about owls?
What about owls?
I've heard that owls are often extraterrestrials or whatever. They come to us as owls, and I've always had a lot of owls around me. Not so much recently.
Your owls are messengers from the ones that have passed on. So yours are not connected to ETs. Yours are connected to loved ones. So when you get greeted by an owl, it's literally a messenger from the other side coming to you. So you don't have the ET owl connection. You have beyond the veil owl connection. And it goes also back generational.
And bats.
And they're saying they would appreciate tobacco. Your owls want tobacco. They would appreciate, they'd like tobacco. It's like an offering. So if you like, there's certain trees that you notice you might want them to come, put tobacco underneath it as an offering.
That might be difficult to get in the UK.
Oh, you don't have tobacco? Cigarette?
Cigarettes, yeah. Just get
Cigarettes
cigarettes.
have tobacco in them.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of more pure leaves, but no.
Yeah, but it's the intention that goes behind tobacco, but tobacco is used as offerings for the other side. So yeah, you could just get oh, this is weird, break up cigarettes, and they're showing me a long stick like this. And you would put tobacco on a line on the stick.
Thank
Huh.
you.
There's that light again.
Yeah.
I had a Zoom call with yesterday, and they had, the light was there, and they're like, Carol, is that a portal above your head? And now yesterday, when I had the thing, I put my hand up and it like disappeared. So I don't know if it disappeared. But they said, they're like, that's a portal above your head. And I'm like, no, it's not. And they said, put your hand up there, see if it disappears.
It did,
So I don't know
it
when.
disappear when you did that. Do it again, because it disappeared.
The hand's not there.
Your hands.
Maybe it's a portal.
Do it again, but say something as you do it so that you come on as the main speaker.
All right. So, already portal, let's check out, am I here and functioning within the portal?
Looks that way
Wow.
to me.
And they also, when I had Zoom call, it was doing that, it was flickering.
See.
And it got really, really big when I had the Zoom call. So it like almost took this whole hot top area. And he's like,
Oh, it
please
did.
don't stand up so that you disappear.
It did earlier too. We couldn't really see you.
Well, I guess, well, okay, so I'm trying to pick it up. This tree right here is like a protective communication base, which is why I always like to sit here. So if I'm gonna have a safe portal or a safe communication way, it would be through this tree's protection.
And where is it a portal to? Between,
They said Theron, Theron. Don't know what that is. Obviously it's somewhere, I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Well, Caroline and Grace, I want to thank you for mentioning the owls, because it reminded me that when we were in the ceremony with Durga, when she took us into the nighttime with the moonlight, I was aware that a huge owl showed up next to me. So thank you for saying that, because I had totally forgotten that owl showed up in my space.
Yeah, that was definitely a messenger for you. Okay, so on the last thing she's gonna say before she goes, because she's not really talkative, she's more of a tradition ceremony person. So she said, before you go to bed and have water. Okay, so this is a triangle, but also putting your feet together. So soul to soul, hand to hand. Yeah, foot to foot, soul to soul, hand to hand. And she says part of is to allow the energy is not broken. So when you hold your energy like that, it doesn't leave your hands and it doesn't leave your feet. So you're recirculating your energy, if I'm understanding her. So since you've had the ceremony today, just at some point today, put your hands together and your feet together and know that you are recirculating your own energy. I guess it's a creator thing. So like when you go like this, you open your energy out to other people, but when you bring it in, you're literally recycling and recreating your own energy.
Cool.
She's saying it much more complicated than I'm saying it back. But this is sacred to her, the hand, feet. That's sacred to her.
how long do we need to do that for?
3 breaths. Because you want to be aware of the breath circulating. That's the whole thing, is closing your body and your body's energy off to circulate and renew it and refresh it. It's like your body is an automatic refresher. You have the ability to recreate and refresh your own energy, but you have to close it off.
That's what it felt like, it's recharging our own energy.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that.
And the thing about the breath is that the inhale is the masculine, the Shiva. The exhale is the feminine, the Shakti. So that is a complete, again, circle of sacred union, the inhale and the exhale.
Does it matter if we have shoes on or not?
Take the shoes off, please. It must be bare skin.
Okay.
And you don't have to do it for very long. It's just three breaths, but it's closing your body energy off. That's all. And if you have shoes on, you're not skin to skin and recirculating your energy.
Mhm.
I mean, you could do it in bed before, put your socks on, is, close your, that way you won't be cold.
I was just doing it now and I have rubber boots on. And it didn't feel right.
What she is saying about, she is in her tradition, she is very ceremonial and she is very into tradition. So she doesn't really, this isn't elitist, but she doesn't engage. She gives assistance in ceremony tradition as opposed to one-on-one. That is the way she communicates.
Well, we are all one.
Well, and that ties back to those Virgo energies that I was talking about in terms of the soul tribe that I was born into. It's all about sacred ceremony and service to the sacred feminine, which is why I naturally tend to be ceremonial as well.
And you're great at it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That is why I think she feels she was presented to you, because your natural fluidity with ceremony fits with the way that she naturally is. So you were a very good match for each other.
Mm.
And she says, Sophia, if you could get a picture of her with the arms out and put it in your kitchen so that there is well, anyone can do, but she's, like I said, very ceremonial and very traditional. Put it in your kitchen with the hands going, and that, I just gotta say what she says. She is a multitask goddess. So if you put her picture in your kitchen, it literally brings a vibration of multitasking into your home. But she says the kitchen is a place where she works with the energy of the house. So the kitchen is where she feels most comfortable being presented.
Absolutely. And that's because that hearth, that Vesta Shakti energy, that Shakti is her energy.
So yeah, and anybody, that wants to put a picture of her in the kitchen, feel free. It's just like a feminine multitask
Mm-hmm.
game cheat.
Well, and what I'll do is when I send out this information to everybody, I will include the picture that I used for the I'm going to stop the share so I can show you. This picture, you can't see it in its entirety, but the picture that I used for this, I will include.
Yes, that's the picture he likes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, Carol, and what I would say to you too, is I know I have this deep connection with her because in one of my lucid dreams, years ago, I actually saw myself as her riding on the back of a tiger through a jungle.
Hmm.
she says, as fractal energy puzzle piece to enlarge the fractal that you carry. To enlarge the fractal that you carry, one must expand, honor, and continue forward the traditions and ceremonies that you remember for that life. So for you to bring that forth into this lifetime, one must focus and meditate on tradition and ceremonies within that lifetime to enlarge that fractal that you are remembering. And she says, does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And for anyone who's interested, I have this CD, Mother Divine. It's actually sacred chants to Durga. Craig Preuss, P-R-U-E-S-S, I don't know if that's how he spells it, created this. And actually, there is a 20-minute segment from this on YouTube, and I will also include that in the description box below.
She wants to know if you have ghee.
Excuse me?
If you've been using ghee when you do the chanting. She says there's a small candle of ghee, which is pure butter, that should be used during the chanting.
Yes, and if you do a fire ceremony, then you take the ghee and you put it into the fire and you say svaha. And so whatever it is that you want to clear out, you're offering to her with the ghee on the fire, svaha. Boom.
Yes. So she says the ghee is very important. And she goes, as you do more of the traditions, more will come to you.
Yes, I'm very familiar from being in puja in India. So
I'm just repeating what she says.
yeah, no, I love that she's validating it. And in fact, when I was in India, one of my trips, I left India and I went to see Mother Mira, who is an avatar, who is an embodiment of Durga. And most people call ahead to let them know that they're coming. And somehow I didn't get that message. I just knew that she knew I was coming. So when I got there and they brought us into the room to have darshan, I was sitting at the back of the room. And all of a sudden, the assistant to Mother Mira came back to me. She said, I need to reseat you. She brought me forward. And she put me at the feet of Mother Mira. And while I was waiting for my turn to receive the personal darshan from her, and I was in a meditative state, for the first time and only time ever in this lifetime, I heard the cosmic heartbeat.
Ooh. Valid connection. That is beautiful.
Mother Mira has written several books. I'll put links to those in the description box as well, if you'd like to engage with Durga through Mother Mira. She does online darshan and online ceremonies.
Cool.
I hate to break the mood, but it's a little late here for me. So I'm going to love you all and leave you and go and do my sealing off ceremony before I hit the sack and manage all the others at my feet. So I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you today, and you, Sophia, Mona Lisa, everybody, and Carol for her beautiful sharings that she has the gift to do. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for all your lovely presence and sharings. It's a real joy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you for being present with us. I appreciate it.
Oh no, my pleasure entirely. Much love to all.
To
Thank
you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
And I,
So Carol, before I go back to the share, is there any final words or messages from Durga, or is she feeling complete?
she's complete.
Okay. Thank you. So we've had our sharing circle. These last few slides all seem to kind of merge into the same space. We've had our questions and answers, unless there's anybody that has one more something that they'd like to speak to, feel free. And then here we are for the next 9th strand DNA activation. It's going to be happening at the Venus Temple that's near Alexandria, Egypt. The actual, sorry, I'm like really way out. The actual gate activation at this third eye chakra, which is the portal of perception, is happening on May 23rd. We will be gathering on May 28th. And so, you know, the last time I said we were going to have Goddess Eris, and then it all shifted in a fabulous way. So I'm not identifying yet. I haven't received yet who the sacred feminine aspect is that will be speaking to us at that time. So I'm just putting this placeholder here saying a message from the sacred feminine. And as that is revealed to me, I will check in with Carol. And so that's about the most I can tell you about that. So here we are. This has been a long ceremony. It's been a very potent ceremony, and it's, I mean, I'm just feeling so expanded. I cannot, you know, kind of navigate my physical body here. So thank you to everybody, anybody watching this. Please, I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and give a thumbs up so that people will be seeing this in their feeds. If you need to contact me for anything, you can contact me at my email, sophiamonalisa79@gmail.com. Remember, Sophia is spelled with an F. And so I'm just going to stop the share here, and I'm going to put us back on a group gallery view here. And please unmute your mics, and you know, any final words before we say goodbye and complete today. It's just been huge for me, and I hope that it's been as meaningful and potent for each of you as well. Thank you, Carol, from the bottom of my heart. I am always in awe of your gift. It's just mind-blowing. And we are truly blessed. I mean, the way that our connection came about, and you've been here from the very beginning of this Galactic New Earth project, it's just unbelievable to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia.
You're
Really, it's always a pleasure. I look so forward to it, and I just feel like I'm growing leaps and bounds just in the presence of you women. And Carol, as always, thank you, and just everybody. And I am having to sign out myself too today. So blessings to y'all, and thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I think somewhere along the way, we lost our friend Susanna over in Portugal, and I'm not, of course, it's late over there too. So Susanna, if you watched the replay, sorry we lost you along the way. All right, beloveds, until next month.
Au revoir.
Thank you. Au revoir. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.